Good afternoon, everybody. It's Thursday at 1:30, so we're doing our Facebook Live. As you know, we switched our time over. We wanted to move to Thursday. It seems like on Fridays we have a lot of people gone. There are races or events and shows, so we thought let's do this on Thursday and see if we don't do a better job with this.
It sneaks up on us this Thursday. I'm used to the end of the week.
I know.
Thing, but
Well, it's a great way to finish the week because, we're all done thinking about things, so we do our Facebook Live thing, then we can move on with the weekend. But we're here on Thursday.
we are.
We could take off Friday.
If you make that call, I think everybody would follow
Well,
along.
1:30 is kind of tough anyway because then we can't go have a beer after, so that kind of kills us. We've got work to do.
Well, lunch is ready for this. We can have the beer before.
Oh, that's a good idea. We'll have to work on that. We have to come up with a new routine because this is definitely going to take some time to get into the. You need to get in sync with this Thursday 1:30 business.
And like we said last week, go ahead and comment and let us know if it's a better time for you or you like the old way. Or I know we're gonna give it a few weeks to let you get used to it. So we'll work
Yeah,
with what's best.
we're learning as we go. We need your input. So you let us know what the best time and the day of the week is, and we'll do our best to get there. It's our 44th episode.
44th.
Can you believe that? It's almost
I don't believe it.
coming
I
up
tell
on
them
a
every
week.
week. I think it's been more. But
You know what's funny about this whole Facebook thing? When we started, everybody said, "Well, you got to keep it short because people's attention span is like 15 minutes tops. Don't go more than 15 minutes." We have never been able to do this in less than 45 minutes.
Exactly.
It keeps going and going and going. But we do our best to keep it as exciting as we can.
Well, and also it's usually when we first started, we weren't getting a lot of questions, a lot of interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Now sometimes we've even had episodes where we don't even get into the topic of the day because we get so many questions. So
Which that's
and
the
we
higher
love it.
priority. That's the better priority. It's
So-
really about answering your questions.
Put your questions down below.
And the reason we started doing this was, when I got on the radio, when I was doing WLW, American Trucking Network, a lot of people called in, and for those of you that don't know, a tribologist is somebody that understands sliding surfaces.
Yep.
So oil and how oils work, and you really don't get an opportunity to talk to those kinds of guys very often. And when I got on the radio one time, we had a flood of questions, and people just want to know, hey, my Harley uses this kind of oil. Why is that? And what is this? So we found out that there was a need to talk to people. Normally, people in that profession would work with big plants like a Honda or General Motors. And their job is to go through the plant and assess, what kind of oil's going in the compressor. This is too thick, it's too thin, doesn't have the right additives. We need to change things up. So their priorities are high. They're in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars worth of purchases. It's not something like this. You just generally don't see this kind of activity. So we seen a need in the market, and we thought, hey, we're innovative. That's what we do. We're powered by science, right? So let's just answer questions. So our first priority is to answer your questions and
And as we
teach
say,
you.
any question. Again, we're going to have a topic today, but even if it's not even our product related, you got a lubrication question, Chris is
Yeah.
here today.
We
Good
know,
time to ask it.
Hey, that's what we do. Fuels. We know a lot about fuel. We know a lot about additives for fuels and what happens in fuel systems, gas and diesel. We also know a lot about oils, gear oils, transmission fluids. Kyle knows about engines. He's a motorhead. So if you have questions about that, he's your guy.
Okay.
Well, I'll put you on the spot. So,
I'll try.
Last week, it sounds like you had some amazing guests. I was gone.
Yeah, we got the new setup. So we have, we're Levi pulled it off with having Skype tapped in, and we had Lavon Miller come on, which was awesome, and Trey the lumberjack Sikes came on at the end of the episode. So we're going to keep working on that. Let us know how you thought about that. What I want to get to is to be able to take your questions live like that too. So you go ahead and post them down below, but we're going to, I think, eventually open up our Skype to allow people to video chat with us too and have a direct.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
How's Trey doing?
He's doing good. Actually, Trey today is down at one of our new dealers that he just brought on in North Carolina, and they're doing a full tune from another one of our dealers up here in Ohio, Ziegler Performance. They're putting a tune on the vehicle. They're running our products through it, and they're going to do a France filter install. They're doing a full video of everything, so you guys will see that pretty soon. Actually, I think I just saw Trey's watching right now. So hey,
For
Trey.
those of you that don't know this, Trey is a brilliant person. So ask him any question you want. If he doesn't know the answer, he'll find it for
He
you.
will.
He's a really interesting person, especially in this field. He focuses and he stays focused on it. So
He does.
he's an amazing person to have working with us.
Yep. So let's see. So on today's video, this will be that part 3 we're going to pick back up from of our Q&A with Stump the Tribologist, with our highlight going to be talking about our TBN Booster product, which is, like we always say, the best product you've never heard of, and it does not get the love it deserves, but we're going to give it a lot of love today. So kind of tied into the TBN Booster is also our oil analysis. We'll touch on the France filter as well, answering your questions. And our free product giveaway is going to be TBN Booster today. So post those questions below. We'll direct them, and then we're going to touch on this a bit.
Okay.
And what about a web special? We have some announcements on that?
We do.
Hot off the presses?
So until Sunday evening at midnight or Monday morning at 8 o'clock, whenever Levi turns it off, we're going to have a free gasoline extreme for every bottle of Stiction Eliminator you buy. So
Oh.
that's a $16 value, and it gives you a chance to try the product in some other areas. You can get 2 gasoline extremes if you get a gallon of Stiction Eliminator at $99.95. So that's a really good value. That treats a lot of, a whole semi-truck or a Ford 6-liter. If you've never tested on a 6-liter, that's your clean out treatment.
It's a 5-star product for a 5-star dad.
I like it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
So buy some for your dad, or if you're a dad, buy some for yourself and thank your sons and daughters for it.
Very good. So what's next up on here?
Let's see, we already covered that free product. New article up. Are additives worth it? So that is probably up on the website. We get probably posted it. Here goes Levi. See, we can see now. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That's a new technology too. We can actually see for the first time. So check out that article. Is that the one that we're also got some audio in as well? That's a really new cool feature I think you guys should check out. So a lot of the content we're creating now, not only are you going to see some of our dealers and some of our experts that have really helped us out develop this content, they're quoted in these articles, but now you can actually hear them as well. So go check it out. It's really cool. You can click on the audio, hear it direct from the horse's mouth from some of our dealers really speaking about our products and how they use them, and it's really cool. So please check that out.
The trick about additives, read the article, it'd be worth it to learn about it, but there's the additives that we build are professional grade, industrial strength, if you will. We built them to solve problems or we've seen a hole in the industry. A lot of the additives on the shelf are just a retail grade product that are made for, to sell product, to move units. So they're not as robust, and they're not really doing a deep dive into it. So like a normal company, I don't say normal company, we're a normal company.
We're not normal.
Well, you're probably right. A lot of other companies, what they'll do is they'll say, okay, how much power steering fluid will people buy additive for? Okay, that's worth doing. Then they put a package together, try to put the least amount of additive they can in the bottle to make the profit the most valuable, and then they do an advertising blitz behind it. We don't do that. What we do is we say, okay, we see there's a problem with this engine. How can we fix that? Or we see there's a problem with engine oils. There are some things that are just inherent. You have automotive manufacturers that are building engines to one degree, and then you have these oil people that are building oils, and they don't always mix. They don't always, match up. If I'm a Chevron, and say a Volkswagen something came up and said, hey, we really need a special oil for that, they're going to say, we're not doing that.
Right.
Unless we could sell 1 billion units, we're not going to go to the trouble of that. So they'll say, okay, well, we could use this 1540 diesel oil. That's close enough. Well, then we find later on by reading forums and talking to you folks that, hey, there's a problem. We keep getting a buildup, or we keep getting a ticking noise, or we notice that we're losing power. So we'll dive into it, do some tests, say, okay, what we're missing is this doesn't have enough zinc, or it doesn't have a good enough ester in it or something, and then we'll build a product that fixes that problem and then bring it to you. That's kind of what drives our company, is that innovation.
And to speak to additives being worth it, as you'll see, one unique thing, particularly independent dealers out there, a lot of our shops that are using our products, they use it for a reason, and it's because it works, and their end game is satisfying their customer. So, of course, you can buy this online in retail, and you get to that retail space, and there are 1,000 additives there that you just can lose your mind in, and it's tough, and we get it. But one thing, if you look at the guys whose business depends on them fixing people's problems, those are the guys using our products. And like I said, Trey's down there with one today that we'll have a video of, and it goes to show that they're not going to use a product that's not working. They're going to hear from their customers, and
That's right.
and that's why they use our fully formulated high-end line of products for it, and those are still the same ones that are available on the store shelf for our average customer too.
Well, the important thing to understand is that's a different, what we call, sales channel. And dealers are generally mechanics. They are people that understand motors. They can tell you all about this and that and the other thing. So we have a line of products just for them that will never be available on the retail shelf. First of all, there's not enough markup on them. Second of all, there's not enough movement. So when you look at a Walmart or even an O'Reilly's, their job is to make the most amount of money per square foot of that store that they can. So, and they'll just, they're honest about it. I don't blame them. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But in essence, they're going to say, you know, if this doesn't move 1 unit per store per month, then I'm going to take it out and put a product in that will.
They don't care if it's the best or the worst in the
Correct.
world.
My
It's what
job
sells.
is, that's right. We're set up on an economics that says we need to move this much profit out of this store to cover overhead, labor, rent, and all those types of things. Where when you're talking to a dealer, it's the exact opposite. It's, well, how do I know this is going to work? You know, I don't believe in additives. Additives are snake oil. It's like, well, let me show you the testing we've done. Let me show you the dynos. Let me show you how we developed this product. They actually care about all those things. Where when you're talking to a retailer, it's more about how many units will it move? What are the billing terms? Do you have specials every year? Can we do an end cap? It's a different type of conversation. So we've set up a special dealer network, which Kyle heads. And the reason we put Kyle in charge of that is because he knows those people. He knows our salespeople that handle them. And he's able to explain to them exactly how the product works, which brings up a good point. If you're watching this and you know a dealer in your area that doesn't carry our product, reach out to Kyle and let him know what the name is, or
We'll get them hooked up.
talk to the dealer and say, hey, you should talk to Kyle. These guys have a great product line that solves problems, and they're all over with customer service. You know, we do oil analysis. We really dive into the
We're going to
problems.
touch on that today.
Yeah, that's a big part of what we do. It's not just selling product. We answer your questions. We spend a lot of time on the phone. If a dealer calls us from North Carolina and says, you know, I've got a customer in here and he's got a continued problem and this is what it is, we'll dive into it and see if we can fix it for him. I mean, even if it just means we're selling 1 bottle of product, it's not the profit center that does it. It's who we are.
It's the relationship and supporting our dealers, and that's a little value adder that our dealers have compared to some of maybe our competitors that are shipping a case of products to them and wishing them luck with it.
Well, and it's what we love doing. I
Sure.
mean, to be honest, I mean,
And it's a two-way street. They also bring problems to us that we're not aware of. They're the ones in the field really,
right.
and they see new problems coming, and that helps our R&D. And then we can be ahead
That's
of
right.
the curve on some stuff.
exactly right. That's where we get our feedstock for the next chain of products. It's like, okay, we're seeing a consistent problem here. Is this something we can fix, or is this something we can't? And then we work on it. So it's worth diving into.
Yep. All right, so let's move on. We got TV this weekend. This Saturday at 1 p.m., our friends over at Truck U are going to be doing a tech tip on our Stiction Eliminator. And that's on Motor Trend Network again. And then on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. is a brand new premiere of Truck U. And that is a tech tip on our FR3 friction reducer. So you got back-to-back Truck U Saturday and Sunday. Coming up this weekend. This weekend we got a local event. Here in Ohio at Pacemakers, we sponsor the Cash Days event. And that is going on Saturday. I believe it gates open at 4 o'clock. Racing starts at about 7 p.m. and it goes late into the evening. They are going to have the kids Power Wheel races out there, which is fun. Bring the kids out, bring the family out. They've got all sorts of classes from super fast to ET classes. So I think it's only $10 to get in if you want to come and watch. And I know veterans are always free there, and kids 12 and under are free. So this weekend, bring them out, and we're happy to support a local track here and keep things moving down there.
And that's an initiative that Kyle headed up. You know, he said, we're into racing, we're into motors. This is our whole lifeblood. Why aren't we supporting a local track and getting into that? And apparently local tracks are kind of dying out. So it's something very much needed is support.
They are. So it's not just the race cars out there and guys that like to race. They've always supported the track because they need a place to go. What keeps them alive is putting butts in the seat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't been out to a local race, go check out your local racetrack. And it's usually only $5 or $10 to get in there.
Why do you think it's dying out? Is it because millennials play video games instead of race?
Yes.
Yeah.
You said it, not me.
Well, I don't know. I'm just, I know when I was younger, it seemed like racing and cars were very, very much an enthusiastic thing. And today you don't see as much hands-on. I don't know if...
Well, and I also think that a lot of people have never been and don't understand the entertainment value of it, too. They think it's just watching race cars go on the track, which it kind of is, of course. But there's so much more there. Like over
the
here,
drama, the rivalry.
Well, and also at Pacemakers, they really make it family friendly. They got a nice patio. Velvet Ice Cream has a thing there. They have an ice cream stand. They got a playground for the kids. They stop it in the middle and let the kids come out on the track and do Hot Wheels and Power Wheels down the track. It's really a fun evening out.
Yeah, it's just about having fun.
And it's that time of year you want to get outside anyway. So no matter where you are across the country, support your local track. Go check them out, see what they're doing this weekend, and bring the family out and have a good time. And you may get hooked and go out more often than you think.
I was thinking when I was a kid, even like 16, 17, 18, tools were a highly valued thing. The only place you could really buy good tools at that time was Sears, Craftsman tools. You know, well, we didn't have Snap-on and things like that, but if they were there, I didn't know about them. They were not in my neighborhood. If I got in,
Is this Youngstown?
yeah, they would have gotten rolled if they would have been Youngstown. But my point was, you know, growing up as a young adult in your 20s, you collect tools like new wrenches, new socket sets, and you're always looking to upgrade and how can I get an impact? And oh my gosh, an air compressor was top tier.
The holy grail,
Well, you know, you look at younger folks today, and I don't even think they own any tools, but they focus on a bigger computer, a faster processor. You know, it's all about computer stuff, and I don't hardly ever remember anybody getting excited about tools or building things. So maybe it's just a cultural shift.
Maybe. And one more thing to that too is the track allows that 16 and 17-year-old that just got their license, that you're scared they're going to go out there and drive crazy on the street. It gets them in a safe place to open up and have fun with a car in a very safe environment. So
what about the 50-year-olds?
We're trying to get, well, I don't see them in the street racing community as much, you know, but it's a safe place for you young guys that want, rather than on our roads out here, you know, where you can
go
actually
and race.
Yeah.
And you can race anything out there, right? You don't have to have a race car.
Oh yeah.
So you could bring like your minivan and
Absolutely. We see them every week. I guarantee you. It doesn't matter what you have from
I've
crazy
heard
fast
about
to-
people around here racing like a diesel truck against a Suburban, a Chevy
Oh, yeah.
Suburban. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
just drag racing.
There might have been something going on back here.
That's what I've
Sometimes after work, there's some stuff that goes on behind the building out here. But it's a private road, though, right?
heard. It is a private, well, kind of.
The
But
irony is the sheriff's office is right there. They can see out the window, but that's a whole different story.
yeah,
Okay, we'll move on. So, preparing for the next two events next weekend. So next weekend, we're back into the Outlaw Diesel Super Series. If you remember, we just had our Ohio event recently. The next leg of it is out in Virginia at VMP. It's the Holly Rock Custom Summer Diesel Showdown. It's the third leg of the Outlaw Diesel Super Series. Myself and Rich will be out there. Again, Trey will be out there. We'll be bringing the BMW out, and Trey will be racing that and meeting us out there as well. So looking forward to the third leg of the season of that. The series has been going great. And Diesel Don is going to be heading up to Marshall, Michigan for a Lucas Polling League event. So,
excellent.
yeah, so he's going to head north. We're going to be representing at some polling stuff and some drag racing stuff next weekend. So maybe we'll tap in and we'll do a live from the field next week as well. Maybe you guys can do something here. We can tap out. Maybe we can work the Skype to all type it into one big thing.
That would be
Technology,
cool.
man, it's
That'd
moving.
be really cool.
What's going on in R&D?
R&D, they're working on the lubricity additive. They've got all the work done on it, and now we're trying to find a name for it. Some of you have taken part in our survey
Yep.
for the lubricity additive, and it's one of the things that we want to make sure that it's done well, because once you get a name, you're kind of stuck with it. When I started the company, we just kind of made up names. We didn't think that much about it. It's just what we did. I mean, it just wasn't our thing. So now that we're getting a little bit more exposure worldwide, we're thinking, okay, let's actually put this through a process and make sure we come up with a good name. So we're close. We've got it down to two names based on what you've told us, and they're looking at the legal issues to see what's trademarked and what's not. What can we get? We want to protect it. We don't want somebody to come out with the same product, same name.
So I have been getting some questions. When are we going to be customer ready? Now, we mentioned last time we gave some samples out at the Outlaw race to some of our race teams and our drivers, so we know the product's done.
Yeah, the product's been done. It was it was kind of a holdup. Our education person that was kind of running this workshop on it got sick for the last 2 weeks, so she wasn't able to finish it. But her team has been working on it all along. And for those of you that don't know, there's a test that we do. It's called the HFRR, high frequency reciprocating rig. And what it does, it basically scratches back and forth real fast and then measures the scar to see which one gives the most lubricity. And we've been able to make the best lubricity additive by, I think, 50%. I don't remember the exact numbers in front of me, but it was, the federal government mandates.
I remember the numbers.
Like a 520 on the scar, so they want it to be like 520 millimeters or microns, whatever.
Micrometers or something.
Yeah.
Micrometers.
And our normal additives, we have lubricity built into everything, and that brings it down into the 400s, which is good for everybody's everyday racing or everyday users. That's what the manufacturers wanted, was 400s, and we found that racers wanted even more, and there were products out there that were in the 300s. So we took it down. We were able to get it down to 194, which was literally the scar was half the size of what
Right.
anybody even asked for. And now that we know that we have the best, we have to come up with a name. So we tried like Lube Shield 194, that's a sciencey name. Injector protector, because we're sitting there and somebody says, well, really, we're just protecting the injector. It's like, well, shouldn't it be called injector protector? That's a good name. Well, guess what? You can't trademark that because it's descriptive. So how about injector protector 194? I don't know. So anyway, stuff like that.
But we will come up with something.
Yeah, it'll be soon. Like this next week coming up, we'd like to get that all put to bed.
Okay, I'll
Out
let
the
people know.
door.
They're asking me about it. I think the word got out at the Fire Punk event.
Hopefully there'll be a launch next Friday or something like that. The other thing we're doing is RV products. We've been
Yeah.
working on RV products for quite a while. I'm a avid RVer for many, like 30
Junkie,
years.
like an RV junkie.
I am an RV junkie. And so there are specific needs for RVs, and those of you that drive them know, whether it's a Class C, a Class A gas, or a diesel, or even pulling, pull behind, you realize that, they're really laggy going up hills. Normally they're carrying a lot more weight, and in case you don't realize this, for those of you that aren't RVers, RVs don't go under the same engineering principles as diesel trucks do. So like if I'm a General Motors and I'm putting together a diesel pickup truck, I really analyze how much this thing can pull, what's safe with it, what should the brakes look like. If I'm working on a Kenworth truck and I'm an engineer, we're very precisely measuring and testing and putting out a good product. RVs are a lot less tight. So they may put a 30,000 pound box on something that was really only made to hold, say, 25,000 pounds. So they might say you can pull a 5,000 pound trailer when they've never really tested that. There's nobody that regulates it. So if they want to
It's
say
also
that,
the way people use the vehicle too.
Exactly.
It's used differently. So, for example, we know that with the when looking at what we need to do to the fuel, we know we're probably going to need to add some more stabilizer in there.
Correct.
Because they might park it for a month and move it and park it and
not might, they will. RVs sit for a
Right.
long time. They sit and sit and sit. So yeah, and
so
those
it's
are
not
some
just
of
the
the
hard
things.
parts of the vehicle, but it's actually how the consumer uses it. It will formulate for that need, for that purpose.
Exactly, and that's what we're doing. We changed the ads around to look specifically towards RV problems, looking at the transmission, the fuel, the engine, and said, okay, and I know these things. It's like, how are we going to fix it? And we've got a really good. The R&D is pretty well done, and it's coming off really well. You'll see some great advancements. This will be the first line of products made just for RVs that I know of. So hopefully that'll be done in the next couple of weeks.
All right, so let's do some shout outs to some of our dealers here. How about Watson Diesel Service? They're up in Jackson, Michigan. We got certified diesel power out of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. What is Elizabethtown, Kentucky? I know that for some reason.
We drive through whenever we go to Louisville.
I know. I think I might be down where near the track is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grumpy's Performance, great name there. Grumpy's
Grumpy?
Performance, Molino, Oregon. Summit Motors in Red Cliff, Alberta. Some of our Canadian friends up there. Lonsdale Auto Parts in Consdale, Minnesota. And CarQuest of New Prague in New Prague, Minnesota. So welcome aboard to the new guys, and we appreciate you guys' support, and we're
Excellent.
happy to have you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Let's check some questions. I think I see we get some questions already.
Okay.
So after this, we'll jump into the topic du jour.
Which is-
Holly Smith says, "Good afternoon, gentlemen." Hey, Holly, how you doing? David Baker, your products are awesome. Thanks, David. We know you love them. I'll see you this. I'm soon. I'll see you Saturday, David. Troy Kennedy, hello from Arizona. Trey Sikes, here he is. France bypass filter install on a 2008 6.4 Power Stroke. That's what he's doing today. He's down there doing an install video on that.
Well, Trey, can we get a video of that? Can we lock into you?
He said just 5 minutes, it's up.
All right. Well,
Trey, I drove the car home last night.
yes, he finally drove the BMW.
I drove the BMW. I got back to work and my truck was gone. And it's like, somebody took my truck. So, so I'm like, all right, what do I got? What are my options? So I went out and the only thing available, because the company truck was gone too. So,
Kevin, it's a company truck.
so I'm like, where's the keys to the BMW? And they said, they're on Chad's desk and it says Kyle on the keychain.
All right, see Trey, see what you did.
I said, okay. It goes really fast.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. I really shouldn't be driving that car.
All right, so Logan Cavender says, "Hey guys, got my bottle of FR3 from last week. Going to separate the dosage on fuse systems between my truck and my motorcycle." Well, great. Yeah, it's a 1.5 ounces per quart, so motorcycle doesn't take much. And
No.
even if you got a little bit left over, FR3 is great to throw in your power steering. Remember, about a 5% dosage, so a little bit goes a long way with FR3 in some smaller applications. Lawnmowers.
If you just put a shot glass, 2 tablespoons in your power steering, you'll see a big difference.
Absolutely. Here's Trey. Here at Tier 1 Diesel in Rockingham. Welcome aboard, Tier 1 Diesel. They're the ones, if you didn't see, did that video a couple weeks ago of the injectors that were sticking. They had the negative 44 rate, and they put Stiction Eliminator in, ran it live, brought the RPMs up about 1,200. Within 5 minutes, they were already coming down. Within an hour, they were within balance.
Excellent.
All of them. It was really impressive. So, welcome aboard to Tier 1 down there. That's where Trey is today. He's installing a programmer and a tune from Ziegler Diesel in Canton, Ohio. So that's a few of our dealers all working together. Guy down in North Carolina, Justin Ziegler up here in Ohio is doing the tune and the tuner. So
Is this just a normal truck or is it a racing application?
I believe it's just a normal truck. It's a 2008 6.4 Power Stroke. So it's having a couple issues, and between Trey, Tier 1, and Ziegler Performance, they were tackling it all today, and it's going to be all cleaned up with the France filter
It's
coming
kind of
up.
a cool community, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It is, yeah.
We'll tap into them here in a little bit and see how that's going down there. Robert Fremming, any product good for a 2002 F-150 with over 276,000 miles? Well, I think we got perfect products for that.
That's a gas engine.
Yeah, F-150, yeah, there'll be a gas. Stiction Eliminator.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
many
I-
miles, you definitely want to do some Stiction Eliminator.
I would run just 8 ounces of Stiction Eliminator for one oil change and then switch over to FR3. It'll clean up everything in there. If you could do the magic school bus and go inside the engine, you would see build up and you'd see some crappy stuff in there. So basically, let's get it all cleaned out first with the Stiction Eliminator, then follow up with FR3 on the next oil change.
And then I'd also run some
Gasoline
Gasoline
Extreme.
Extreme and
Yeah,
clean out those
Gasoline
injectors and the fuel system as well.
One treatment of gasoline extreme, and you're gonna,
Good for 10,000 miles or so.
yeah, you should notice a big difference like right off of that.
Troy Kennedy says, what size hose inside diameter, I'm guessing this is ID, and or fittings are needed for the general France filter application? The ends that take in the oil and return it. Where's Diesel Don?
I don't know.
Diesel Don, help us.
I'm looking at it. It looks like a 1/4-inch hose, but normally the kit comes
Oh,
with it.
it is. It's funny. I was talking about it yesterday with Brett. Inside diameter is a 1/4 inch. I'm positive. Brett just said that yesterday.
Okay.
So there you go.
Troy.
That's completely lucky. It's the first time I heard that, and it was yesterday. Troy also asked, what quick and easy information can a guy read and regurgitate to fellow enthusiasts when talking about the oils? What info can I repeat that sells it? Wow. You tell us, because we could always learn how to better.
We don't know how to do
sell
anything simple around here, or short, obviously. So the most important thing is the PAO synthetic base oil. It's the only oil that I know of in the States that is offering a full Group 4 PAO synthetic, which is why we built it in the first place. Everything on the market is a Group 3 or a Group 2. So that even if you buy a full synthetic, mobile full synthetic, that's a Group 3, and they can call that a synthetic. And it's better than a Group 2. So, they're not lying or cheating, but it's not a Group 4 PAO. The difference, just for general numbers, like a Group 1 is going to oxidize in about 1,000 hours on a D943 ASTM test. The Group 2 is going to go in about 2,000 hours. A Group 3, which is a full synthetic, is going to go in about 5,000 to 7,000 hours. But our PAO synthetic will last 50,000 hours before it oxidizes.
And it won't even oxidize then.
And it won't. Yeah, they just ran out of time to do the test. I mean, that's a lot. That's like a long time.
And that's what we try to explain to people. It doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 1, 2, 3, and then a Group 4 is off the charts. And
So, and the biggest difference is Group 1, 2, and 3 are made from crude oil.
Right.
Group 4
Even a Group 3 synthetic
is made from crude.
Right.
So, and the way I explain it, the simplest way, again, I know this is probably more explanation you wanted, but when you're looking at oils, if you took 10,000 different sized balls and put them into a gymnasium, then rolled a piece of plywood across it, it will still roll, but then cut that's a Group 1. Let's go to a Group 2 and cut that down to 5,000, and it's going to roll even better.
and balls are more similar sized.
Correct. So you're
Right.
going from like beach balls down to BBs.
Right.
So now let's take a Group 3 where they filter that even more. as far as molecule size, and say they've got it down to 1,000 different size molecules. So now you got things the size of, billiard pool balls or tennis balls down to BBs. Well, that's still rolling a lot better than when you had soccer balls in there. But a Group 4 synthetic, just imagine the floor's got 100% BBs and nothing else, or 100% marbles and nothing else. It rolls much smoother, much less friction, much less drag, and that's all proven, not just with our product, but I mean, if you look up anything on the internet that's at, PAO synthetic and friction, you'll see their friction is reduced tremendously. The other thing is the PAO synthetic molecule is about 10 times smaller than a natural or a crude molecule. So it's like putting a lot more roller bearings inside your engine.
That's what I was thinking.
And then if you add our nanocarbons to it and our Group 5 esters, it just makes it over the top. So no, I can't explain it simply.
There was your short, sweet, and simple explanation. We're not good at that.
No, I mean and that's always been our problem.
And that's the challenge of our product.
It's complicated.
And imagine, like I said, especially on the retail, there's a space when you're there against 100 other ones. It's like, how does that get explained? Without somebody even. It's hard to explain when somebody's explaining it to you. So
how do you explain on a shelf that our full synthetic or full PAO synthetic has 2 different esters and 2 patented esters, a patented nanocarbon, and the rest of it is all PAO synthetic oil and more additive than everybody else is using. It's like you can't do that. I mean,
so just tell them it's the best.
Yeah.
And buy them a beer.
Yeah.
So Trey's got another question. How much zinc difference between blue and black diamond? The black diamond's got a ton of zinc in it.
Yeah. The blue diamond we had to back off of zinc because the DPF system's required. I think it's less than 1,200 parts per million.
I think if I remember right, it's got as much zinc as we could put in it safely for DPF.
Correct.
Whereas the black diamond is for off-road vehicles, non-DPF vehicles, race vehicles that have no emission systems because
I think it's in the 25s.
It's super high.
Yeah.
2,500 parts per million.
Yeah. I think so. Aaron, if you're watching this, you can type in and let us know how much is in there. I haven't looked at those numbers for a long time, but
I think I think the black diamond actually has a higher zinc rating than our adrenaline race oil. Because we put a lot of TBN in there, which we'll talk about today if we get there.
Could happen.
Good. Rustin Hover says, get in on the YouTube channel Project Farm. All right. I don't know if you're just spamming us or if that's something we should look into. Project Farm sounds like it could be an agricultural. We'll take a look. USMC Racing. Yo, how you doing, Brian Check? He never misses an episode. Adrian DeBlani says, use Hot Shots. Oh, you're going to love this one. Here we go. We like these. Use Hot Shots Secret Stiction Eliminator in my VT365, and it destroyed all 8 of my injectors. AR9100 is the way to go, or even Revex. Stay away from this stuff if you have a high-pressure oil system. Interesting.
I don't know what happened. I mean, we'd have to find out more about what happened, but there's nothing in the Stiction Eliminator that would ever destroy anything. It's full of additives and base oils that are just good.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there that could cause detriment, and we've tested it with I think we're up to over 600,000 or 700,000 bottles. So
yep, almost 700,000 bottles now. So,
yeah.
and we'd be happy to talk to you, Adrian. If you want to message us or call in, like Chris always says, his cell phone's available.
Yeah. There's no way. Now, one of the things that happens is when you get a lot of miles on, sometimes same thing happens in a radiator. You get 200,000 miles on a radiator, and then you flush it, and all of a sudden it finds the holes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you get 300,000 miles on an injector, on a Huey injector, and then you clean out all the crap that was holding them together, and there might be leaks or something. So there's no way around that. The difference between the other two products that he mentions is that they're using a nanoborate, which will create a slippery surface. So that it does make it slippery, but it doesn't clean. Right. What we wanted to do was lubricate and clean. That was unique about what we did. So
right.
We're able to clean not using solvents. So we're not using like a paint thinner or mineral spirits. We're using our esters, which is a Group 5 oil. It's expensive, but it does a really good job of cleaning. So those esters not only clean but lubricate.
And with being a Group 5 ester, no matter what kind of oil you have in there, it is better than the oil you have in there.
Absolutely.
And so there's there's literally nothing in our Stiction Eliminator that could actually damage an injector. I mean, it's just chemically impossible.
Correct.
So, I'm sorry you feel that way. Now, but we'd love to go ahead and try to find the problem though, and
Yeah.
because because obviously you have an injector issue there. So,
And we do have a procedure for things like this. You know, some things are just coincidental. You know, I put the Stiction Eliminator in and I went 10 miles and got a flat tire. Well, it isn't because you put the Stiction Eliminator in. There's just things happen. You know, you're changing the dynamics. But what I've seen happen in the past is you start to clean out the high pressure oil pump and the pressure increases to the injectors, and where they've been going under a lower pressure up until now you just increase it to where it was the way the manufacturer made it. And all of a sudden, maybe the seals can't handle that. Well, again, it wasn't, the only change point was we cleaned out what was holding it up.
Right.
Now, there's no other way to do that, but there is no other product on the market that will clean and lubricate at the same time.
Yep.
And that was one of the reasons that we did all the research and testing 2 years ago when we changed the formula. Just a short story, we brought products in from all over the world, literally from all over the world, and we tested them to see which of them would reduce the coefficient of friction the most and give us that foot of the pedal type feel. You know, we had products out there that were giving you that, you know, I put this in and 10 minutes later my engine's running better. Well, that wasn't the way the old Stiction Eliminator was made to perform. It was made to get in there and start cleaning up slowly, dissolving the deposits that are in there, and then bring you back up to your original performance within 1,000 miles.
restoring that. Yep.
But we were still getting a lot of comments. I put this in there yesterday and I still don't feel a difference. So what we wanted to do was put something in there that was slipperier or would act that way while it's cleaning. So you're getting both effects at the same time. We tested everything on the market that we can get our hands on, and we put it to a test as far as wear and to see which one could give us the least amount of wear. And that's how we ended up with the FR3 formula and the new Stiction Eliminator formula. There's literally nothing when used at the same treatment rates that could give you a smaller wear scar than what we did. That's the shortest way I can explain it. I'd be glad to go into it and show you the charts and everything.
Sure.
But
So
it
if
was
you want,
next.
Adrian, give us a call. We'll follow up with you.
Yeah.
David Sanders is watching. Hey, David. David
Yeah,
called in
David,
yesterday.
good to see you.
We talked to him. He got some more of his Primrose. It was some grease that he uses. He's been using the whole time. I think on the
Armor plate
bearings of
grease.
his.
Yep,
of his
327.
trailer.
That's a great
There he
grease.
goes.
Yep. Dave,
So-
I hope everything's going well. Stop up next sometime if you're in this area.
I told him I was going to bring him out his product. I think Don took care of him when we got him shipped out because he was trying to buy some FR3 too, and he was stuck between the two websites. So we got them together and took care of him. So USMC Racing. Kyle is my Superman hubba hubba. All right, thank you, Brian.
Superman hubba hubba.
I guess so. TJ says Chris is cooler than Kyle. Well, you better say that. Hey, but I got to manage you day to day, so you better watch your mouth there, TJ. Logan has a question. Question on setup for the bypass filter system. The Gambler 500 rig I've been working on. The engine does not have an oil cooler or piping to the radiator for one. Would it hurt to attach an oil filter sandwich plate to the oil filter on the engine to run oil through the bypass filter, then into an external mounted oil cooler, or would that hurt oil pressure for the engine?
Nope, you could do that. I'm not a mechanic, but I play one on TV. No, I'm just kidding. What would happen if you did that is you will equalize the pressure. So even though as long as you're adding oil and you get it up to pressure, it should equalize. So you should be fine. That's a great idea actually, to use that as an adapter plate to get to your oil cooler. Yeah, to add an oil cooler on just to get the oil cooler. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I like it. And I'm thinking about oil cooler also through our torque unit. It's almost kind of like clean and cool.
Yeah, we got to work on that.
Yeah.
But that would be safe. And again, if you just think about this for a minute, once the oil pressurizes, if it's 40 pounds, it's 40 pounds. You're not changing it. Whether it's going through the system, a filter and a cooler, or the system without the cooler, it's all the same 40 pounds.
Yep. Oh, man. I think I got to ignore the rest of these comments. It looks like TJ and USMC Racing are going back and forth. You see that? He's saying Chris is a tribologist, Kyle is a wannabe. That's why you're cooler.
Wow.
TJ said that. But then USMC Racing chimed in and said, TJ, your mom's and left it blank. Whatever that is, he said, you leave Kyle alone.
Usually my name and cool are not in the same reference, but that's okay. I'll take it.
Casey Joe Labonte, a.k.a. Mechanic Chick, on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for the pink decals. You're welcome. I saw those just go out. She's one of our influencers over there on Instagram, huh, Levi?
Maybe
Awesome.
we should have her do some videos for us.
Hey, Mechanic Chick, we like some videos. Everybody go over to Instagram and follow her. She's at mechanic_chick. So give her a shout out and a follow. So yeah, give us a video. Let's see what you do with those pink decals that we sent out to you.
Well, I meant do a video for our thing, like how to change your oil or how to change an injector.
Right.
We've been talking about doing that for years.
Brett says it's the State Highway Patrol, not the Sheriff behind us. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Same difference.
Yeah, it's not good either way.
No, it's not. Shouldn't be doing what we do in front of them. James Bruce, welcome back, buddy. Here every week. I've got a problem. I keep running out of the Unicorn gun oil, and Olga could really use a Franz filter and logbook to tell you how awesome it does on her. Well, they're for sale.
A logbook, that's a good idea.
Yeah, to do.
To track the oil and to see what you're doing. So the idea behind the bypass filter, for those of you that don't know, your oil, when you put the oil in the engine, it starts to degrade. Say if it's a car or like an F-150, by the end of 5,000 to 7,000 miles, you've sheared it out of grade. So when we're building an oil, we're going to say take a 20 weight oil. We're going to put these VI improvers in there, which are basically like rubber pellets or rubber stringy things, and as they heat up they swell and they interlock, and that makes the oil a little bit thicker so that it stays in grade while you're getting it hot. And then when it gets cold outside, they shrink up and keeps the oil thin, and put some pour point suppressant in there so that it's a 5. So I go 5W30. I started with 20 weight. VI improvers got me to 30 weight, and pour point suppressants got me down to 5 weight.
Right.
So what happens is, as you run it, you cut those little rubber or polymers in half, and then in half, and then in half, and as they shear, it takes the oil out of grade, and you end up with what the oil was originally, which is going to be a 20 weight.
Right.
So that's why, not so much on cars, because people don't drive them as hard maybe, but on a diesel, truck, car, tractor, anything, you put that in there and it's all nice and feels slick and thick on your fingers. You got to change it. It feels more like kerosene. And you're like, man, why is it so thin and runny? Well, what happens, you sheared it. You took all those little polymers and you cut them up. Okay, so that's the first problem. The second problem is you have a combustion process. You're sucking air in from the outside, which is bringing dirt with it. You have an air cleaner, but it's only cleaning out so much. And then you're creating carbon deposits as you do this. And the whole time you're scratching up the inside of your engine, just normal abrasion. You can't stop that, right? So you take all of that, and by the end of that 8,000 miles or 15,000 miles, whatever it is, depending on the vehicle, you've ruined the oil. Okay, with our Blue Diamond engine oil, because it's a PO synthetic, you're not going to shear it. We put very little VI improver in it because the natural state of the synthetic is that it's really goes to low temperatures and it stays pourable, and even when it gets hot, it doesn't really change that much. It's one of the unique properties of synthetics. So we know the oil's not going to wear out. We put extra additives in it to make it last a really long time. But the problem is it's still getting dirty because you're pulling air in from the outside. So you have what's called silicon or dust or dirt. They call it silicon to make it sound fancy. But in the end, it's still going to get in there and scratch stuff up. And then you have these metal particles that are scratching things up. The Franz filter takes it down to 1 micron and cleans all that out. So now we have this oil that will last forever. We have a filter that's keeping it as clean as can be, so you never have abrasion. It's actually cleaner than brand new oil once you put the Franz oil.
And that's running through the motor constantly.
Yeah, so basically 24/7, whenever you're driving your truck, that oil you can pull at any time, and it's still going to be cleaner than a brand new quart of oil. Right. So it makes the engine last forever. But the detergents and the things that are in there are going to slowly diminish. Eventually, there's not going to be enough detergent to protect your engine. So what did we do that was brilliant? We came up with TBN Booster. So that was the whole idea behind it. When I first started selling these products, it was basically wrapped around a Ford 6-liter engine, and I developed the Stiction Eliminator, and everybody loved it so much they called me up and said, what can I do to keep this problem from ever happening again? I says, well, you need to use a PAO synthetic oil. And they said, where can I get that? So I went online, I called Shell, I called Chevron, I called Pennzoil, and everybody said, no, we don't make any PAOs. So we built our first PAO synthetic. It was called Blue Diamond engine oil. And so we had the Blue Diamond, and that would keep you from getting the stiction problem again because you can't shear it. Well, then they said, well, it's like $50 a gallon. It was pretty steep. So we started off with bypass filters, and we added the bypass filter. So then as they're sending in their oil samples so we can keep track of all this, I noticed that the oil was still good, it was clean, but the detergents were going down. Well, nobody made a detergent that you can just add in there.
It's a boost it back up, right?
Yeah, so it's like, I don't want you to dump the oil. I mean, especially if it's 6 gallons. That's good oil.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing it needs is some detergent.
Right.
So I called everybody in the industry, and nobody offered a full TBN package, so we developed TBN Booster. And the idea was to give you the whole package.
Yep.
Now, since then, we have found other uses for it, just like we found other uses for Stiction Eliminator and bypass filters and our engine oils. But today's, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but this is the golden ticket right here. This
Absolutely.
is, there is nothing better you can do for a vehicle than this whole setup right here. A PAO oil with a bypass filter, with regular oil testing, and bumping up your TBN when needed. I mean,
You should literally be able to keep an engine on the road forever. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, part of what's
I
happening.
think our legal department would not like you to say forever.
No, yeah. They
But
probably
the
don't.
closest thing to forever.
Yeah, you're probably right. But the bottom line is, inside the engine you have normal wear and tear is abrasion. So you have all these little tiny metal fines that are getting heat treated, and then they come back and they scratch things up. If you remove that from the equation, you know, not only do you get better fuel economy, but you're having less wear and tear. And the other fun fact, or the other nice part of this is, those little tiny metal shards get hot, and then they become oxidants. They cause the
Oh.
oil to oxidize.
Huh.
So-
See, I learned
So
something
by
new.
putting the bypass filter on, you're actually reducing the amount of oxidation that happens to the oil. So if you did nothing else, if you just put a bypass filter on and you checked the soot levels and the oxidation levels, they will be reduced, and the oil will last longer all on its own, because you're removing a lot of what's causing the oil to oxidize. Even when they do the test, and when they do the D943, they put a metal strip in there to cause it to oxidize. Without the metal, it doesn't oxidize.
Crazy.
So you, just in general, like if you took a test tube of oil and boiled it, well, not boiled, if you got to 180 degrees and just left it there,
Right.
it will stay looking good for a long, long, long time. If you took that same oil and put a couple drops of water and then a metal strip in it, it'll oxidize.
Kind of like when we do like the little bearing bolt
Yep.
test. And the
Same,
heat.
same thing we do. Yep, we
Gotcha.
do that in our lab. So what happens is, once you introduce a little bit of moisture and the metal to it, the oil will oxidize very quickly.
Right.
Because you need all three of those to happen. So what we're doing is we're removing the moisture with the filter. We're removing the metal shards, so the oil just lasts longer.
That
Makes sense, right?
it does. I didn't know that.
Couple it up with a full synthetic, the best oil money can buy. Test your oil, because there's no point in changing the oil if it's good.
Right.
So, you know, the
We're
test
keeping
is,
it. The PO's keeping it in grade. The filter's keeping it clean. Just the last step is making sure the additive package is there, and we
Yep.
can check that with oil with testing.
now the other place that the TBN booster comes into play is on a lot of today's, well, a couple places I just thought of. Let's say you have a truck that's pre-DPF, and you go to the shelf and everything you're buying is CK4, which is the latest oil spec for diesel oils. What they've done is they've reduced the amount of detergents and dispersants inside the oil so that it won't go past the rings and pollute the DPF system. That's like a catalytic converter for your diesel truck, for those of you that are driving older equipment. If you buy anything new, even if you bought a brand new tractor today, it's going to have a DPF filter on it. Now the DPF filter, if you put zinc and phosphorus, if it goes past your rings and into the exhaust, it will pollute that and ruin it. Kind of like lead used to do to the catalytic converter. That's why they take the lead out of gasoline, because it was ruining the catalytic converters. So now we have unleaded gas. Well, that's what happens with the diesel. So if you have an older truck and you go, say you're at wherever, and you buy regular engine oil, and you're like, man, I wish I could have the same amount of detergent that we used to have 5 years ago. You can put in a couple ounces of TBN Booster, and you've brought that oil right back up to where it used to be without any problems. It's the exact same additives that we're using for our engine oil. We also have FR3 as 1/3 of it, which is our friction reducer, 3 patented products, and then just straight out
TBN and
TBN.
CK4.
Yeah. CK4, TBN, and then the
FR3.
FR3.
It's a good blend. It's a good mix.
It's a great product. It's a great product.
I think it's one of those things all the truckers, just like in the winter, where they should probably have a bottle of rescue in their truck just in case. It's the insurance. If you're stuck on the road, you got a long haul coming back home, you don't want to stop and get an oil change somewhere, TBN get you home.
Give it a little boost.
So we got a lot more questions. I know we're running. If you guys want us to keep going, we're going to keep going, but I think it's better to hit some of these questions people are asking. Troy Kennedy asks, how's the daughter's oil experiment? Friend needs some stuff for his Honda.
So no, I need to check that. I've kind of forgot about it. I need to. Yeah, I'll
Isn't
check
she
that.
back?
Yeah, she's been driving to work every day.
Well, a couple weeks ago, the question was asked, and Kevin said everything so far still goes so good. So.
Well, the car's still on the road, so it's a 2000. it's an '02 Ford Escape, and my
Is it 0W8?
yeah, correct. My daughter goes to Cleveland State University, and now she is back here in Mount Gilead working. And we wanted to do an experiment with our nano products, and we thought, if this works as good as we think it does, increase the film strength, let's build a 0W8 weight oil and see if it can hold up in something that was made for a 5W30. So we put the 0W8 weight in there, and we've been driving the car, and it's got almost 200,000 miles on it. And I need to check that and see. We did some checks along the way, and the oil analysis were coming back fine. So we think it should be okay. But I will
keep
check
you
it.
posted. We get asked that a lot.
Next week, I'll get an oil analysis, and we'll post it on there.
All right.
Only if it looks good, though.
Justin Ziegler's watching. Hey, Justin, we were just talking about you. I know Trey's down in North Carolina right now, Tier 1. Thanks for helping them out with the tuning and all that. Casey, she's our mechanic chick, says, I have a 6.0 stroker with Stiction Eliminator, 245,000 miles with all stock injectors but one I replaced 3 weeks ago. It definitely helps.
There's a fellow up in Wisconsin, Lee Wickenhauser, and he got 280,000 miles on stock injectors before he had to replace one.
That's nuts for 6.0.
But he's been using Stiction Eliminator since whenever. He was one of my first customers.
Right.
Yeah. So I know it works.
And those are original 6.0 injectors from the factory. That's
what he told me.
Arthur Irwin says, hey, Chris and Kyle, wahoo, how you guys doing? Hey, Artie.
Arthur, good to talk to you, buddy. You have to come by, get us a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Don't wait until Apex. We can do this ahead of time.
Yeah. We always see him at Apex, but we can see him before then. David Baker says, Lightning's got a Ford Lightning, has 206,000 miles and still going down the track thanks to your products. The TSC, I can't say it enough how much it brought that transmission back to life.
Transmission Stiction Eliminator.
It's probably next to TBN. It's the two products that don't get the love they deserve.
I know it's a really good product, and transmissions are so.
Yeah, Chris's favorite. That's where we had the CEO discount, right? Yeah.
What was that?
They was it TSE? Yeah. When the web put TSE on sale, I think the coupon code was like CEO's favorite or something. Yeah. It's true.
It's a great product. If you have just to upgrade your transmission, you can put transmission Stiction Eliminator in there. It will make it shift better, but it also makes the oil last longer. It's a Group 5 ester, 100%. There's no metal additives in it to offset or to unbalance what they've done with your automatic transmission fluid. But most importantly, what it does is it goes in as a very polar product, and it removes any microscopic varnish or stiction that's inside that transmission. It makes everything shift a lot better and faster.
It's our only product that has no additives.
Yep.
Pure Group 5. Randy Harrop. Oh, Randy's our bud up from up there in Alberta. He says, quote, engines are just happier with the Hot Shots oil. Easiest way to explain it. Got guys running in cars, trucks, quads, and heavy equipment, and the simplest, easiest way they explain the difference to me is just that. Engines are happier.
I like that.
I like it.
A new marketing campaign.
He put
Make
quotes
your
around
engine
it.
happy.
Yeah, I like that. I already got some ideas on that. Arthur Irwin says that injector failure sounds like the guy with the Volvo big rig that stopped by the Mid-Atlantic Truck Show. It failed because of something else. Yeah, we got it. There's a lot of people chiming in about the person who had the injector problems. We're not scared to address somebody like that. So I appreciate all the defense out there, but we're happy to talk to that person.
And honestly, this happens probably a couple times a year, and we do a deep dive in it. We'll get an oil analysis. We'll get the parts back. 100% of the time, we have found some other root cause. Somebody, I don't remember like a couple weeks ago, something happened, and we brought the oil in, found out that it had chlorine in it, like a chlorinated paraffin.
Oh.
And they said, we put the Stiction Eliminator in, and I don't remember what happened. One of the injectors, half the injectors, something happened. But the point was, we know there's nothing in our product to cause that. So we said, okay, well, send us the oil. Let's check it. Went through and found out that they had added a chlorinated paraffin in there, a competitor's product, which uses like a metal cutting fluid. And the chlorine had created it creates a hydrochloric acid type process in there. So when you put a chlorinated paraffin in, when you get it hot, it starts to shear and then rebond and becomes hydrochloric acid and starts to eat stuff up. and that was the root cause. So there's always something going on. It takes us a couple days to get to the bottom of it, but we'll do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we're happy to. We want to solve the problem regardless. So
that is what drives the company, is solving problems. We learned that a long time ago.
Jen over from R&D just chimed in and said, Aaron says blue diamond is 1,200 parts per million and black diamond is 2,700 parts per million. That was on the question about zinc. 2,700 parts per
So
million?
there you go, Troy.
That is-
the blue diamond's at 1,200, and the black diamond's going to be 2,700 parts per diamond.
That is nuts. Tom Perini says, every time I watch Chris, I'm amazed by his knowledge. Me too. I sit next to him. I feel dumb. But that's my job. My job's to unnerd this stuff. That's what I'm here for. So you're lucky I'm not as smart as him. USMC Racing says, we love our decals. Oh, I haven't seen them yet, Brian. The USMC Racing trailer just got some
Nice.
monster decals replacing, we'll just say, another brand that no longer is supporting that team.
We need like a Hall of Fame with all these, like on a collage. All the
Yeah,
pictures.
send us some pictures, Brian. I don't think I've seen those pictures. I don't know if you got them on the trailer yet, but let us know. Post them below or post them up. Let's see them.
Oh, you know what? Don't like camper places. I'm just trying to think of, they have like big jamborees where everybody
Yeah.
like everybody drives a Harley goes to, maybe we should have like a Hot Shot Secret jamboree.
I talked about it because Pacemaker's our local track here. We should do like a company outing out there and invite all of our sponsor guys to come, and you can grill out. Like I said, there's a playground for the kids. It's a good place to be out. And then guys that want to run down the track, let them run down the track. And
Get a band.
Brett can get bands. We know
Get a
that.
band.
The Christmas parties are
Yeah.
always we get a good band here.
I
So
like it. This has legs.
all right. Mechanic Chick chimes in again with, I have a lot of injector videos on the page. All right, so there you go, guys. Go over to the Instagram mechanic_chick and check out her videos. Chris Stewart says, enjoy the educational live chats. Well, glad. Appreciate that, Chris. That's what we're here to
That's
do.
the whole point of this, is to get the knowledge base out there.
And Arthur says, Arthur Irwin, can the TBN be used in a non-diesel situation? Oh, man, I knew that question was coming. He's going to say yes.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the thing. You don't need near as much. Gasoline engines are not as hard on oil as diesel is. Diesel creates acids, and that's why, every diesel engine I've ever been around, you can put the brand new oil in it, and just hundreds of miles later, it's black and nasty looking. You could put oil into a gasoline engine, 3,000 miles later, you could still see through it. It doesn't create as much acid as the gasoline engine does. Now, where the TBN booster is going to help a gas engine, it's going to boost the oil detergency package, but also the friction modifiers. You're going to have nanocarbons in there. Trying to think what else. If you're going to extend the life of, how about this? If you're going to extend the life of your oil, I'm not going to change my oil. I know it's supposed to be changed at 3,000, but I'm going to go 10,000 because that's what I do. Put 2 ounces of TBN booster in there, and that's all you would need.
Mm-hmm.
If you're saying, I really want my oil to perform a little bit better and give me a better miles per gallon, a little bit more horsepower, go with FR3. It's more suited for that job.
Right.
The FR3 is going to make everything in there more slippery. It's going to coat everything with nanocarbons, and you're getting the
Give you
effects
better
of the
film
esters.
strength too, which has great benefits for blow by and everything else
Correct.
too. So.
Yeah, the film strength around the rings is increased, which is how we're getting our horsepower increase.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we know that is when we did oil analysis, and
Silica.
the dirt that was in the oil was 1/3 with the same amount of miles on it. So if you're looking at the oil analysis, and
And the only way that dirt gets in is through the air intake, which comes on the
Correct.
top side of that cylinder. And the better we seal up those rings, the less silica we're going to see. With an only change being FR3 added to the oil, we know the film strength's getting stronger, allowing those rings to seal better, keeping the dirt out.
dang, you're good, man. You
Getting
guys don't
there.
even need me.
I'm getting there. All right, so let's see.
Well, I was all excited about telling that story.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to. I'm zipping you up because you'll tell them for an hour and a half, and we're got a lot more questions. Arthur says, "Okay, I'll plan a trip to Mount Gilead. We can talk about 2020. Sounds good, Arthur. Come on by, bud." Chad Olson says, "Love this stuff. Trans runs smoother and shifts firmer on my Asian. What's an Asian?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm glad it's shifting better though. I'm assuming he's talking about TSE there." Tyler Campfield says, "Hey guys, Tyler, let us know how it's going." Tyler just did. He was the one with the 3.5 liter Mopar engine that's having a tick similar to the 5.7 Hemi tick. So we sent out a bottle of Stiction Eliminator and some oil tests. So we're gonna. I think he just changed oil just this week. So keep us posted, Tyler. Looking to see if that helps you out at all. Evan Tracy asks, "How much Stiction Eliminator should I add to your pre-mixed oils? Can I reduce with the FR3?" I'll take it. You really don't need to. All of our oils already come with FR3 in them. Now, if you are switching if you just bought like a used car, let's say, and you're going to switch over to our oils, you might want to spike it with a little Stiction Eliminator to start off. Would that be going too far to throw 16 ounces into it?
If it was me and I just bought a used car and I wanted to clean out the engine before, I would just buy the cheapest oil.
Like junk oil?
Yep.
Spike it with Stiction and then get an interval through?
Yep. I would go 2,000 miles of Stiction Eliminator.
Don't waste our oil doing that.
No, don't. I mean, really. I mean, we want to save you money. I mean, this is the best oil that money can buy. You know, you don't want to use it just for a cleaning process.
Right. And even the FR3, it already has FR3 in it at the dosage you need. So there's no reason to add any more FR3 to our oils if you're running our oil. And there's really no need to run the Stiction Eliminator. FR3 has some cleaning properties that the Stiction Eliminator has. So we're going to get there. Now, if it's a... You got some fans. If it's a used vehicle you just bought and you want to do a clean out, go ahead and just start with the Stiction Eliminator on it right away and some junk oil. Run it through it. And then switch over to ours.
If you're using our oil, you don't need to add anything to
Nothing.
it. I mean, we have over-engineered it. Honestly, I'm just thinking about to make sure I'm telling the truth. I don't think you'd even see a difference if you add the Stiction Eliminator to any of the diamond oils. I think it would be the same net result.
David Hawley says, "I have a 2005 LOY Duramax, 368,000 miles, tow all over the Midwest. Stiction Eliminator really works." Well, thanks, David. I'd like to hear that.
68,000 miles. I love it, man. You should get a bypass filter. There's one, at the truck show a couple months ago, the one thing I noticed was a trend of people buying older trucks and fixing them up.
Oh, they call them not rollers.
Glider kits.
Glider kits.
No, I'm not just talking about semi trucks, but I even noticed, at one point, 6-liter engines were really scorned on. Like people called them junk and said I'd never own one. Well, I ran into several people that had bought 6-liter engines, 6-liter trucks, Ford trucks that were in pristine condition, had the engines, new injectors put in it, new bulletproof
them, yep.
And did everything they could to it. And they said, I've got 15, 20 grand in this, and it's just like a brand new truck, and I have nothing to worry about. Yeah. So there is a trend going that direction.
Oh, and 7.3s too. 7.3s are
7.3s are
great trucks.
I love 7.3s.
Yep.
But for anybody that's doing that, or even if you have one of those trucks, buy a bypass filter. That's the best. I would say put a bypass filter on even before we would use our oils, only because that bypass filter will make that engine last forever, and you don't want to replace it. If you have a 7.3 or a 6.0, you want it to last forever, and we have kits to put it all together. It can be done in 30 minutes or less.
Yep.
And I've done it in 30 minutes or less, and I'm not a mechanic.
All right, we got a lot of questions to go. We got a lot of people online too, so we'll stick with you guys. You sticking with us, we'll stick with you. Trey's replying to Justin. Ziegler Diesel Performance was a great shop to work with. Justin was so helpful and sent us exactly what we needed for the install today. Great. Yeah, absolutely. We're a big fan of Justin Ziegler too. A perfect example of Ziegler Performance up there. They're just north of us. He started off, with FR3 that he was putting in his house oil, doing oil changes for his customers, and then it turned into offering our Green Diamond as an option in the gallons, and now he's picking up drums of it. And you go to Ziegler Diesel and you get your oil change, it's going to be out of a drum of Green Diamond. So it really shows the progression of someone using the product, getting customers satisfied and happy with it, and
engines are just happier with it.
We like it. We like it. Brent Hilliard says, "Very informative explanation on the injector issue earlier. Just hope I didn't find HSS products too late for my 6.0. It's never too late. Like I say, we restore. It was International and Ford that did the testing. Said 9 out of 10 we restored. If we get them before they're gone, and we can restore them, we can keep a lot of life in them.
Even if they've been gone, we've been able to fix them.
Bring them back from the dead.
I mean, right. we had trucks that had 5 injectors out, or not 5, but I think 4, and they got it started with starting fluid, and let the Stiction Eliminator run, just let it idle in the parking lot, and by the end of the day, it was running.
Right.
So then they started driving it and doing things. So it's, it can actually reverse and get an injector back online. That's how strong it is.
Make it happy again.
Yeah, it makes it happy.
Make
Injectors are happier with
Make it
Stiction Eliminator.
sound- Randy Harrop says, do you guys have plans for a trans fluid for the problematic Dodge 68 RFE ATS plus 4? Although sales of TSE are low for me, those using it are super happy. But I do get asked a lot about trans fluids, specifically for the highest failure rate trans on the market. I'll tell you, yes, it's on our radar. This has been brought up many times.
Is that the one they're testing now?
Yeah, Kevin's all over this one. I can't give you an update, Randy. I have no idea where the testing is, but we're very well aware of the problem and how big it is for that particular trans. And I hear it's a pretty complicated problem, but they're working on it.
Yeah, I think Kevin's got the solution. I think we're trying to figure out what the next step is as far as testing it. So we might be on here looking for testers to give some product to.
And Randy, I'm sure you know some people. So, yeah, good question. Stay up with us on that. It's on our radar, and if anybody can fix it, we're going to fix it. Jamie Gold says, waiting on the test blend we talked about a few weeks back. Got my D13, can't wait. Let me know when y'all are ready. Which test blend were we talking about?
I don't know.
Jamie, remind me, this D13. Got my D13, can't wait. Jamie, remind me what test blend. I'm sorry, man.
The aviation?
Oh, is it that? I don't know. Message back or let us know, Jamie. We'll follow up with you. Arthur says, I used the FR3 and see a 3 to 5% increase in mile per gallon. Great. Yep, we see that a lot. That's pretty common.
Yeah, the funny thing about mileage testing is it's so inconsistent, but the FR3 has consistently given us a 3 to 5% increase in fuel economy over somewhere between 20 to 100 different vehicles that we've tested. I mean, it's been a lot.
Riley McFadden says, I wish you guys had a European car formula so I could run it in my VW TDI that requires 505.01. Well, would you like to tell them?
I don't know what we're doing here. Go ahead.
We're working on that right now. That's
Is that what we were talking about outside just before this thing?
no.
Oh.
No, that's what Kevin has got on the quarterly goal there. So
the 505.
and you know, if we want to bring Trey up here, Trey can speak to that too. It's where was it there? But yeah, we know that there's a lot of need for that European car formula, and I think there's 2 or 3 different 500 type specs. Am I right, Levi? Yeah. Okay. So we're working on it. So that's coming soon. We haven't talked much about it because I think they're still in the early stages of it. But thanks for letting us know that it's needed. So Chad, Dodge Trans in the 4th gen. Thanks, Chad. Now I'm following what the A's and was earlier. Tyler Kingfield said, just changed the oil over the weekend. Going to send out my oil sample today or tomorrow. Okay, we'll follow up with you, Tyler. And Justin Ziegler says, we love all the Hot Shots products. We know you do. We appreciate Justin. You're one of our favorite dealers around here, so we really appreciate your support of our product as well. Riley, no way that's happening. That's awesome, man. I told you what you ask, and it happens. So we're caught up.
All right, we're an hour and 10 in. We should probably.
We're an hour and 10 in. Did you want to bring? Does Trey want to come out? I just got a message from him. He's got something to say. See if we can bring Trey up real quick. And I know we'll probably tie in a little bit of our TBN talk too. I know what they did today was with a
France filter?
what's a France filter? Maybe you can kind of show. So we're going to tie into the guys down there in North Carolina who were putting a France filter on today and work with Ziegler Diesel Performance to get the tune on the truck, and maybe we can get a status update on how it's doing.
Trey.
There we go. How you doing, Trey? The Lumberjack.
What's up, guys?
How you doing,
I'm
brother?
trying to figure out how to hear you. Why can't I hear you? Let's see.
You
What
look
if
really
it's
puzzled.
I can hear you good enough.
You don't
Can you
need
hear
to
me?
just tell us what you got going on there. Where you at and what's going on?
We're at Tier 1. We're back here in the shop. You can see behind me we've got, 8 different bays back here. They're working on the install on the Franz filter kit on the 6.4. I just talked to Brett. We are actually doing some R&D and some custom fabrication for you guys on this kit, and we're going to be adding to the instruction manual. So it's good. It's a learning process, and it's going to be some new stuff you guys can use. We can use it to show people exactly what we did. We're going to make the video and show how they're mounting everything up. And I still can't really hear you too good, but I'm going to go ahead and go to that VW question I know you just asked.
All right.
Got the two main ones. The older VWs use a 502, 505 spec, and then the newer ones with a DPF use the 504, 507 spec. Obviously, the 504, 507, that's like a low SAPS formula, lower sulfated ash, and the other parts of that acronym. So for the DPFs on the more modern common rail, like 2009 and up ones. And let's see, had a question, Chris, just come up actually. On a larger hydraulic system, what would the treatment rate of FR3 be? I'm thinking that 1.5 ounces per quart be a bit much in a larger hydraulic system.
That's what we've been experimenting with, and so far the results have been good.
Would it have any application there? And I'm going to go so I can actually hear what you guys say.
Okay.
But I hope I was helpful today. I'm going to give you guys some good video coming up.
Okay. Good to see you, Trey. We have used FR3 in hydraulic pumps, and obviously on the hydraulic system itself, hydraulics are an exact measure, so you can't really affect the change there. But on the pump, on the vanes, on the efficiency, and the amount of fluid being pushed, we seem to find a difference there. So we believe that you're going to notice a difference with the FR3 and the hydraulics, and the 5% measure is what we've been using it at. But you can play all around it. You could actually use it at 10% if you want, or 20. It's not going to hurt anything on the hydraulic system. So hopefully that answers your question, Trey. And we need to give some product away.
We do. That's what I'm just looking for here. So today we're going to be giving away our TBN Booster. So how about Riley McFadden, David Hawley, Chris Stewart, and Casey Joe Labonte. Why don't you guys give us a message on our private there? We'll give us your address, and we will send out some of our TBN Booster for you all to try. That we never really got into the deep dive in, but we actually kind of hit it indirectly there.
We did.
Quite a bit. So we appreciate that. And as we went over a little bit, but we had a lot of questions. Like I was joking at the beginning that sometimes we go over because of that. So, but I don't know. We've got quite an audience watching, so maybe this time is a good time after all.
That's fine. As long as questions are coming in. I mean, they can always tune out if it's going too long and you've got to go get the dishes
Come back,
done.
watch it later. And plus, we put these up on our YouTube page now. They're regularly getting loaded up there. So, if you have a question or you think we've probably addressed about everything in 44 episodes, just almost. So I know if you go into our YouTube page and search, you can probably find a good explanation of us talking about something. But if not, wait till our next live show and come on and ask it. Maybe we'll get you to start being able to pop up on the screen like Trey did there. And
that would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
I think it's cool. So
right.
Anything else you got?
Nope, I'm good.
I'm good. So until next Thursday, well, I guess, so we're doing Thursday next week. So maybe we won't be at the races next week with Don up in Michigan, and I'll be out in Virginia. So maybe we'll come on Friday and just do a special from the racetracks. And
You can always do that.
yeah,
Okay. Well, everybody, you guys have a great evening, and we will see you next week.
see you next week.
Thank you.